Sorry about the rustling noises. Just got to get my power adapter here. You know what? To hell with it. I don't need a computer. I don't need any of it. I already know what we're doing. Screw it. So here's what we're going to dive into. We're going to put a bow on the trade deadline. We're going to put a bow on all the conversation, the consternation, and the rest. But sometimes it's fun to get an outside perspective. You know, we say lots of things, and, you know, whether you like it, dislike it, value it, devalue it, doesn't matter. But we talked a lot about Howie Roseman. We talked a lot about how the Eagles do business and how they're pedal down. They're all in.
They're built different.
And Howie Roseman spoke. And I want you to juxtapose what you get from Brad Holmes, the once in a decade he speaks, and then take a listen to what Howie Roseman says. And again, I'm not asking anyone to be anyone else. What I'm saying is the preferred method in real time, meaning it's one thing for me to tell you, listen, I like the way the guy does business. They're all in it. It's about the Super Bowl. You live with no fear and you go. Well, then when that person basically speaks on it, and he did a press conference, I just think it's important to play it, and I want you to tell me your reaction to it. I'm not asking you to agree. I'm not asking you to disagree. I want to know your reaction. It's very simple. You know mine. I love it. I'm jealous of what Howie Roseman does and how he does it. And I love somebody who has enough belief in themselves not to just be scared, to just go. And if it doesn't work, we'll fix it. But what if it does work? And what if it has worked? Listen to Howie Roseman on his ideology in approaching the roster build, the trade deadline, but mainly player acquisition and how they do business in Philly as a team that has gone to 3 Super Bowls and won 2 in the last, 6, 7 years. David, play the beautiful audio, please. I mean, my God, could our GMs be any different? Could they be more different? Again, it may work, it may not work. Right. But it has worked. And his comment regarding without great risk, there is no great success, it's the truth. So here's my question. What's the last great risk Brad Holmes took? I mean, we'll get to the Tigers because free agency starts tomorrow. What's the last great risk? And do you sense, even if our GMs won't say it, I don't even need to bring up Eisman, but if our GMs won't say it, do you even sense that they think that way?
No, but see, here's the thing. When Howie speaks, this is a guy you can tell. I just won a Super Bowl. I've won a few of these things. I feel confident in knowing he thinks he's cracked the code. You got to go for it. And you can't be afraid to fail. And I think that was the biggest thing that he said. You can't be afraid to fail. You can't be afraid of having this. What if it blows up in your face? What if it doesn't? Well, what if we look stupid? What if you don't? But you can't be afraid of that. And I think a lot of people are not going to be like him. And it's why, Mike, whenever there's an athlete out there, we always like, yeah, the Eagles are going to probably do something. They're going to make some noise. They're going to kick the tires. They're going to do whatever. Because I think the Eagles are like a few teams, not a lot, just a few teams in the NFL have reached that point where they see we've cracked this code. We're going to go out there. We're going to try. If we fall on our face, we get up, we dust ourselves off, and we try it again. I don't think you're going to get that from Brad Holmes. That's why you're seeing, I like what I have. Let's lock it all up now. Let's keep everybody together. And eventually, over time, we will break through.
I would love to know your guys' reaction to it. Because if you disagree with it, that's a reaction. If you agree with it, also a reaction. If you go, damn, I wish Brad Holmes had that attitude and that forward-facing approach, that's a reaction. So I just want to know what your reaction is to it.
Yeah, I got to feel, if you're an Eagles fan, you're feeling good. Like this guy's, he's out there. He's trying to do whatever it takes. And
that's it.
Yeah.
Because in Philadelphia, look, are their fans animals? Yes. But this is where I always joke about this being Cialis City. We've lost our championship mentality. And I don't want to blame fans. I blame the media a lot. I mean, I love how the media just capes up for these franchises as if they're going to pay their mortgage.
Well, it's how you get those exclusive interviews.
Yeah, the interviews that result in nothing. Sick. Want to do an interview where you'll lie to my face? Hot.
Yeah, but you get to post it on social media and buddy up with the coach.
That's cool. Let's see where your career ends up. The point is, we've lost our fastball as a town. Now look, tomorrow starts free agency for the Tigers. Newsflash. Scott Harris is going to be behind the 8 ball now. His legacy is going to either get a huge boost or he's going to take a huge knock based on how the Skubal thing plays and what they do around the Skubal situation. For Brad Holmes, I think it's the rest of this season where they did nothing. And I don't want to hear about, well, it's not like a Pro Bowl guard got traded. That is immaterial to what we're talking about. You hold the cards into what does or doesn't happen. The point is, you did nothing. Can the Lions still win the Super Bowl? Of course. Maybe. Question mark. But you didn't get better. And then to have Howie Roseman do a press conference after the deadline, which, of course, we don't get in this town, and for him to speak forwardly, and I'd say brazenly, which is, I'm not going to live with regret. We're not going to sit on our hands. And you want great things, you got to do great stuff. Now, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but damn it, that would, I think at a minimum, that would make you feel good as a fan. I think the optics and the messaging from the local teams, whether it's when Yzerman speaks, Scott Harris speaks, Brad Holmes speaks. I'm leaving Trajan out. He hasn't been here long enough. The messaging from the other 3 teams in concert with what they do and don't do, I think it sends a very bad message to the paying customer. That is the point. So as we sit here today, that's what it is in Philly. And that gives me confidence they did everything they could. Well, they didn't trade for Quinnen Williams. They did what they needed to do within reason. Right. Nobody got up on these airwaves yesterday and said the Lions needed to make a blockbuster.
No, but they also got some guys up the middle, so they didn't need Quinnen Williams, but I get what you're saying.
That's all I'm saying. Oh, well, big deal, Jalen Phillips. All we were asking for was that kind of move. And we got nothing.
Right. Jalen Phillips is a guy who can come in there and help you out. Do you expect him to be lights out? Probably not. But can he help you on third down? Yes. Can he get to the quarterback? Yeah, I think he can.
If he can stay healthy, he's going to help them. They'll move him around on defense. They need another body on third downs.
And he was perfect for this town because they have a propensity for getting injured players all the time.
So, no, I would love to know your response to it. And do you think this town has lost its fastball? I mean, think about it. You still have people that apologize for Yzerman. And, hey, look, team's off to a really nice start, but Kenny won't even let us get excited. I don't care that they lost to Vegas. Vegas is really good, and that was the end of a road trip. They got 4 points, mission accomplished. The point is, Yzerman did nothing at the deadline last year, and your team captain was so angry by it, he came out and said it. That didn't go well. Then this summer, what did you really do this summer? Whole bunch of nothing. That doesn't send a great message, does it? The Tigers, the offseason was a disaster, the trade deadline was a disaster, and the end of your season was a disaster. All right, well, now you may start your offseason by trading Cy Young. That's a disaster. Not a good message. And for Brad Holmes, off an unbelievably shocking loss, what was the offseason? You swapped out Carlton Davis for DJ Reed. You want to call that an upgrade? I'm not going to yell about it. Of course, fine. But let's not act like you brought in Deion Sanders in his prime. You swapped it out. What else did you do? The draft? Okay, the thing that's going to stick out right now is that Tesla thing that I got wrong and Rico got right. But reality is that seems like, feels like, sounds like a huge error. And
well, no, the Tesla thing made everybody feel good, Mike, because he was out there making the one-handed catches, and it was like, okay, he's going to be a part of this offense, but it was the price that you paid to get him here, and that's where I was just like, did you need to pay that much?
Did you need to run to sign J-Mo? in concert with it. Look, the messaging isn't good. All right? So I'm asking, I sound like Nick Saban. All right? They went through our ass like bleep through a tin horn. I mean, I want to know where you're at. I wish one of our GMs would speak that way. I wish they would just be forthright.
What if they spoke that way, but you just didn't agree with what they had to say?
What do you mean?
That if they came out kind of, like Scott Harrison kind of said, we're going to wait for the kids. Or Steve, we're going to wait for our kids. And you know what, guys?
Yeah, that's
down the line.
That's not speaking that way.
No, I'm saying they spoke. You just didn't like what they said.
No, I think it's
or do you need them to come out and say, we're turning over every leaf, we're going to kick over every rock.
Choice B.
Okay.
I need you to tell me that you want to win as bad as your paying customers do. It makes no sense that the guy who's fighting for his life out there, paying a mortgage and raising kids in this crazy world, cares more and burns more to win than you do. You know what that guy doesn't have? Endless money to wait 3-4 years.
The reason why I said that is because I'm sure we're going to get a few ticket texters saying, well, they did come out and speak. You just didn't like what they had to say.
Right, because it was Bula. It was Bula. That's what they said. I mean, for Scott Harris to come out and say he didn't want to be haunted at the deadline. Yeah, I was haunted by the fact that guys were DFA'd and I couldn't bring anyone into the game except Tommy Canley.
I was haunted by the fact that your trade moves didn't make the playoff rosters.
And I'm haunted by the fact the Lions didn't make a move or didn't do a lot this offseason and carried $45 million into the season.
But they signed all their guys and locked them up. That was their big move.
DGAF. I want to win a Super Bowl.
And guys, I have audio from Dan Campbell's media session today that speaks directly to what we're talking about.
Okay. David's getting flirty to start the show today, people. You smooth talker, you.